everyone, thanks so much for joining me. In this video we're going to cover different variations of forward fold as far as our relationship with gravity. So we'll do a wide leg forward fold and do it from a standing position, from a seated position, maybe in a supine position on our back with the legs on the wall. We'll just kind of see where this goes. But I just want to show you hopefully how they each relate to the other and how to keep a sense of consistency in your spine, and that the experience really changes even though the body is basically in the same position. You might find it helpful to have a couple of blocks if you tend to have tight hamstrings. And then when you're seated, you might find it helpful to sit on the edge of a blanket or bolster. And I think that's about it. So let's go ahead, come on back here. I got my mat set up a little bit differently. I'll hope to have everything showing in the video here. So basically I'm going to take my feet nice and far apart, but I want to show you the forward fold from more of a profile position, so you might lose sight of this foot here. The distance between your feet has to work for you, okay? Typically, the further apart you can take your feet, the more access most people have to a higher quality forward fold. But you don't want to feel like you're unsteady, okay? So you've got to take your feet that right distance for you. And then the feet are either parallel or slightly pigeon-toed, okay? And you still, just like in the forward fold video, you still want to feel like you have a block between your thighs, even though we will not have a block that wide between our thighs, okay? You have so many choices with your arms. Sometimes I do it with my hands at my hips. Sometimes I have them back behind. If this is not available, you could absolutely use a strap, okay, to close the gap between your hands. What's really important when you take your arms back is that you don't get a sensation that your arms are going to go numb. Okay, so that's just a sign that the way your arm bone is in the shoulder joint when you take your arms back is it's not quite feeling snug. It's feeling pinched off in some way that the blood is not flowing very well. So you want to make sure, if you're taking this option, that the head of the arm bones and the shoulders feel really snug. Okay, so we'll just start wherever you want to here. I'm gonna go with this one, and then root across your feet. Try to feel that sense of centering your ankles, knees, hips, so that you feel this line coming up the body, unhindered at the hips. No pinch back here. Okay, lengthen, leading with the heart, and just testing what degree of a forward fold can you explore without any kind of pain. And I can really take this pretty deep and not feel, I'm seeking the sensation of the stretch. I don't really feel it for quite a while, okay? Let's step the feet together, shake them out. Okay, and we'll re-enter, okay? You want to make sure as you're challenging, exploring depth of this, that your joints really feel good. As we explore depth, for many people, they're going to feel it a lot behind their knees. That's a real typical place. Maybe the ankles feel challenged, so you want to make sure that you're still keeping them all centered and with a sense of lift. So let's re-enter it. This time I'll be bringing my hands to blocks, okay? So you can have them like this or like this, all right? So just looking for length, all right? And then, at any time, hands can come here, lengthen, lengthen. Okay, and just find, so again, centering, finding your right depth, maybe taking it all the way. Okay, and here, for me, my head gets to the ground quite easily, so I have to bring my feet closer together, yet still maintaining that parallel or slightly pigeon-toe. So this is my flexibility, okay, in my standing forward fold. So I should probably find some consistency in my seated forward fold. So just get a sense of it. So here, this right here matches with your legs out to the sides, this. Okay, so this is equivalent to this, not this. Okay, so you want to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and turn this way, it might appear better in the line of the camera. Okay, but you want to make sure that you're not forcing some degree of depth that you don't achieve standing. Okay, so carefully just shake out your legs. You can always have your back to a wall. That can be a real nice assist. That can also be, though, too intense. So you might need to shift forward and then take your legs out to the sides because you need to be able to tilt back. So this video really is just about exploring the consistency, okay, in your forward fold, whether you're standing, seated, or on your back. In this position, if you're just automatically in this hunch, then you would really benefit from sitting on, probably not a block because that might be uncomfortable, but on a thick bolster or some really firm blankets, okay? But if you're, the flexibility takes you where I was, well then it would probably mean that you can come into a pretty deep hinge seated, okay? So I can take this all the way forward and it doesn't feel compromised. I want to do all the same things. Feet are flexed, the joints are centered, so ankles, knees, hips are all centered. I have space, okay, in my hips, and I have length in my spine. Muscle engagement, still feeling like I'm trying to squeeze a block. You could even offer counter resistance, hands to the inner thighs and press thighs to the hands, outer thighs, same thing, okay? So same pose, different relationship to gravity, but there should be consistency. Last thing here, so if it, this is a, hopefully it'll show up, all right? But legs up the wall pose with this straddle variation, okay? So I'm getting my seat here to the edge of the wall because I know my flexibility would be okay with that. If just sitting upright, with that straddle doesn't feel good, then you might need to be a little bit away from the wall, or probably will need to be a little bit away from the wall. Okay, so try to imagine what it will look like and safely adjust while you're in it. I'm just gonna swing up here. Okay, so here is equivalent to sitting upright. I could, bring the legs here, but this is going to give me a similar stretch as a half forward fold in that separated leg, wide leg, or the seated position with an upright spine, okay? And I might put some support here underneath my legs, okay? And again, this video is just about finding that sense of consistency. I would still want the lines to feel centered between the ankles, knees, and hips, and not for this to be a groin stretch. I'm gonna assist my legs to come back up. I want neutral, right, spine. So all the same things occurring regardless of my position with gravity, okay? So taking all that you know and feel and do when you're standing, try to translate that to when you're seated or laying down. It becomes harder because the muscles are no longer as motivated, right, as they are when we're standing. So I hope that that's something kind of helpful to think about. You're still looking for your lines in the joints to be centered. You're still looking for that sense of freedom, okay, in the joints, muscular engagement, space for your breath, and that sense of ease as you move through your practice and getting the most that you can out of every single pose. I hope this was helpful. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.